it's not a ceasefire, it's just a slower genocide. But
Has anything gotten incrementally better? I know obviously the conditions with winter are making things worse. They're adding complications to what is going on. But we hear, those of us who are looking, we hear that some food aid is starting to pick up, but it is still not meeting the needs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
absolutely. So comparatively to maybe like 6 months ago when we were going through famine and everyone was losing weight and literally nothing, there was a total blockade, nothing was coming in. Since um, the peace deal or ceasefire, whatever you want to call it,
Right.
since October 10th, the agreed upon amount was 600 trucks a day of humanitarian aid. Of that, about 30% is actually getting in. It's still dictated by the Israeli occupation forces because they control the border, and certain things aren't being let in. Um, so, fresh foods, tents, winterization, things to prepare for the weather that we've been having, medicine, and medical instruments are not being allowed in. So specific things are being blocked from coming in. Of all the humanitarian aid that is supposed to come in, about 30% is actually making it to Gazans. So the this is part of the violation of the ceasefire that the Israelis continue to commit. There have been over 500 violations of the ceasefire since October 10th. Um, and it has to do not only with massacres, but also they're not letting in what they said they were going to let in. The border is not being open, and so this is leading to a lot of issues. But relatively speaking, there is more access to foods. The thing is, it's a little bit weird because we're at everyone is hopefully participating in BDS campaigns. Since the Israelis control the border, the some of the stuff that's getting in are things on the BDS list. So Coca-Cola, candy, Nestle, things like this. So the of the things that are getting in, a lot of them lack nutritional value. We're getting a lot of carb heavy things, right? So the flour, the pastas, the rices, which is we need these things, but we also need the fresh fruits and
Yeah.
a well balanced. Um, but this is actually intentional because Israelis want to give the impression that there's no malnutrition. So eating these carb heavy meals gives the impression that there is a lot more food entering than there actually is. Um, that being said, people are still dying of hunger
Yeah.
because just there is more, but it doesn't mean that it's accessible.
Not
And that is the
nutrition.
case for. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
Sugar,
yeah,
sugar. Yeah.
that's the situation with the food.
Yeah.
Yes, sugar and carbs. That's most of what's being let in, and canned food,
Right.
processed canned food.
Right. Yes, which goes along with what you mentioned before. I think that was an appropriate term of slower genocide. So now, even with the food that is being allowed in, it is not healthy food.